What is going on, guys? I haven't done a recent video in a while. I've been busy, guys. Thanks to recent technology, I've been able to streamline my video production with AI technology. So it's made my life easier on other channels. But as far as being a rideshare driver, things are never going to get easier, guys. I'm just going to put it out there. I know I'm supposed to be the nice guy driver, but the truth is things are never going to truly get better for drivers, at least on the current platforms. In my mind, on the current platforms, things are not going to get better. But that does not mean that we can't come out with new competitors or competition that is slightly fair towards the drivers. When I say slightly, I don't believe there's ever going to be a business model that comes out that involves delivery or ride share that's going to be 100% fair where no drivers complain. There's no such thing, guys. I don't believe it's ever going to happen, but I believe we could get to the point where we meet at the middle somewhere. And to me, the middle would be probably, in my mind, probably a subscription platform that charges us a monthly or daily fee to use their platform, and we keep roughly no less than 80% of the overall earnings from the fares. That to me would be meeting in the middle, but that could still be a $1 billion company, guys. That could still, with just the 20%, it could still be a $1 billion company because it doesn't require the company itself hiring employees. If Uber could do this in the beginning, and a lot of people liked the original CEO, what was his name? Colin Kaepernick. He's still a member of the board of Uber. They liked him in the beginning because the fares were good. Drivers were making 80 to 90% of the fare in the beginning. From my knowledge, from what I'm looking up in history, from the beginning of Uber, drivers were somewhat happy. Immediately, 3 to 4 years later, there was complaints, a lot of complaints, because they changed the business model. Even Uber Black drivers were starting to complain because they weren't getting the money they were used to. Fast forward 2018, 2019, drivers were striking and complaining nonstop about the fares, and it was better than it is now. This is not to down the drivers for complaining. They had every right to complain because the fares for the driver was going down. Meanwhile, they're taking higher earnings from the passengers. So the passengers for years, guys, I'm talking for years, were assuming that Uber drivers get most of the fare. Now, other than the pandemic briefly, where drivers were getting that influx of passengers because everybody had money. Everybody had money. Everybody was running the Uber, probably except me. And I would say this is probably around 2020 to 2021. I should have been driving. I was not driving at the time. I was focusing on not being in the way of this pandemic. I was in the house. I was able to get a loan from the government, 2 grants, the PPP, legally, the PPP as a Uber and Lyft driver. You remember it was the Trump administration This is nothing against either side, but the Trump administration was kind of on its way out, and the Biden administration came in, made changes where, for the first time in history, Uber drivers were considered business owners. First time in history. The original way they had it with the Trump administration, Uber drivers had to put the net. They were going to base whatever you get from the government on the net, which obviously the net is after your deductions. The Biden administration came in and said, no, we're going to change that and make it on your gross, which gave the opportunity for a lot of Uber drivers that write everything off the ability to still get loans, grants, the PPP. So I'm not going to lie, I was chilling. I probably was chilling too much because I should have been putting money away knowing that this was never going to go back to the original economy. But I didn't. I splurged just like everybody else. I was doing Uber Eats, $50 hamburgers. That's a perfect example. $50 hamburgers, but yet the drivers were making like, $4 and $5 deliveries with no tip. When the people were getting like $50 meals, and Uber was taking like, 60, 70, 80% of the fare. Even on the delivery side, from what I understand. So this is not just a video to complain. This is a video to tell you the truth. That as long as you remain a independent contractor for Uber and Lyft, the fares will never be what we consider fair. It's never, because you got to understand, they are a business. They are a for-profit business with stockholders. So every year, they got to produce profits. They have to. It's not like, they're sitting there being like, how can I be the most hated guy on planet Earth? He's not doing that. As much as I disliked him too, I don't think he's outright trying to be an asshole. What he's doing is he's trying to bring in profits, and the only place that they could pull these profits from is the drivers, because they can't take it. They can only take so much from the passengers, because the passengers are going to start going back to, other means of transportation, because it's just going up. It's going up on the passenger side. The passengers are tolerating it, but a lot of my passengers I talk to tell me, oh my God, wow, I thought you guys get like, 70, 80% of the fare. I was like, no, who told you that? And 9 out of 10, these people are uneducated and have no knowledge of this because they do not watch YouTube. Everybody doesn't watch YouTube, guys. We might as well face that fact that a lot of passengers, as much as I educate, I tell probably for every 5 passengers I get, I at least tell one that the earnings suck and this may be my last year driving. But there's still money to be made in transportation. There's still money to be made in transportation. And I believe there's a lot of money to be made in transportation on the healthcare side. Think about that. The healthcare side, there's a lot of money to be made in transporting all these sickly people, to their hospital visits and stuff. And even though Uber and Lyft are starting to like dabble in that arena, they're starting to, give us those rides and still pay us bullshit fees. If you took those medical rides yourself directly from the hospital, you would make more money. And you're just going to have to accept the fact that you're going to be paid later through insurance means and such and stuff like that. So you're going to have to figure a way to take private rides and transition and taking some medical transportation rides as well off the platform. So that's my goal this year, is to somehow go private legally, 100% legally private, but eventually dabble in the healthcare niche, because I believe that's where you make the most money in transportation, to my knowledge. These medical transport rides can make you a lot of money. You can literally go sign up for a certain facility as their personal driver, where you just pick up drivers for that certain facility and make a killing. You're probably going to have to bill them later, but instead of getting paid $10, you could be easily making $20 a trip and just be paid later. But in the meantime, you'll be able to do something like Uber Black or a higher tier platform, get your own insurance, become a private driver. Honestly, I don't care how you guys do it. I don't care if you take the rideshare professor's course. I don't care how you do it, but that's the only way in my mind that we're going to make any significant amount of money doing transportation. Until a better company comes along in the gig worker, rideshare arena in our state. There's a few around the country, but it's all nice and good to hear about these companies, but they're not helping me. They're not around. They're not in my state. They're not helping me. Even the one the rideshare professor was promoting, I haven't heard nothing else from them at all. What was it called? Fair Rides, Fair Eats. I haven't heard nothing else from the development of getting that company to come to even New York. I haven't heard anything. So I'm assuming it's going to be a minute before any of these companies make it our way. Hum. I hear what about the one called Rides. There's a few out there. A few of them are from other countries, other states. They're not coming to save us. So, excuse me. So we're going to have to save ourselves. And the only way I see that we can save ourselves is we got to get creative. You might have to start a YouTube channel. You might have to start doing affiliate marketing on the side. You might have to start taking off the platform rides, quote unquote, breaking the terms of service. You might have to, I've always been a risk taker, riding that gray area, and I don't believe that rideshare's ever gonna get to the point where there's no more strikes, there's no more complaints, drivers are sitting down with Uber and Lyft teams. It's never going to happen. We need to face that fact. And it kind of pisses me off, but it don't, because I kind of understand. But I get at least one comment a week about somebody saying, well, why don't you get a regular job? A regular job doesn't have the same flexibility. That's the truth. The truth is, we don't want a regular job because I don't want a boss on my shoulder. You might prefer that. I think a lot of these people that say that like their job. Congratulations. You love your job. Stop telling drivers to get a regular job. A regular job is not the answer. Building your own economy is the answer. Going private, starting your own business, that is more likely the answer, because we'll still have our flexibility. Nobody wants a regular job where we have to go clock in. Oh God, I'm running late. I got to go clock in. And if you're 5 minutes late, they dock your pay. Come on. Stop telling drivers that. No, I'm not going to go get a regular job. Never. Because it doesn't have the flexibility that drivers are looking for. It's just that simple. Thank you guys for your time. Thank the few of you for continuing to support my channel as well as my other channels. You know, I really appreciate all your support. And please subscribe to the channel, whether you watch often or not. It really does help. Click that bell icon, and I'm trying to catch you guys with another detailed video in the next one. Thank you.